Okay, guys, let's see if we can get this going. Let's see. Hi, everyone. Okay, so welcome back to another streaming of practice with me sessions. So let's see. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I'm just going to check to make sure my levels are okay as well. So I always go back in just to make sure. Let me have a look. Okay, so welcome back to another streaming of so I actually sound all right for once. Okay, so the audio here is a wee bit out for the bouzouki. It's going to turn him up a wee bit more. There we go. And let's make sure. I'm going to see what I sound like again. Okay, so the audio here is a wee bit out for the bouzouki. It's going to turn him up a wee bit more. There we go. And let's make sure. Could probably actually be a bit louder. See what I sound like again. Okay. Let me just have a wee of this. And yeah, I'm going to turn that up. It's a wee bit quiet for my liking. See where it's at. And it's gonna just a wee bump up to maybe here. Yeah. Oh, and lovely tuning. Oh my goodness, hold on. Sorry guys. Okay, so a wee bit flat, which is actually weird. Usually it goes sharp with the heat. There we go. Come on, eh? There we go. Ooh. Gonna need to change these strings, guys. This is the last week you'd be happy to hear on these strings. They've had their day. Yeah. Amazing, that's in tune. G. G. Okay, well, it's just the top two courses that were out. Course 1 and 2. Okay, let's bring them back on. Suppose it's not going to make much difference when we get stuck into the chin. Okay, so yes, welcome guys. I'll be doing a wee bit of looking at a new tune today. So there's going to be a few wee things that are going to be slightly different. We're going to sort of break down how do you actually come up with like patterns to tunes, and the one that we're going to be using, again, we're obviously going to be using quite a bit from Olivia Barrett's Facebook group. So the tune that we're going to be using is one that she did quite a while ago, maybe a month or two ago, called Young Tom Ennis's Jig, or Young Tom Ennis is the name of the jig. So I'm just going to share my screen with you guys, and actually while I'm just getting the light ready as well, I'm going to go to actually this one and see, can you guys actually see? Let me see. What does that look like with the... Yeah, it's a bit dark. Yeah, what I'm going to do quickly is just get another light, so bear with me while I hide everything. I'm just going to put you guys back into stream mode for a second. I'll be back in a wee sec, just 1 minute till I find a better light. Is this any better, I wonder? Let's check out this light. So I've got a brand new light, woohoo, to sort of illuminate the bouzouki. So let me just see if I can show that to you guys. Is that better? Yeah, it's much better. Okay, so I have to remember to keep that light on as well, and I might just actually dim them or dim these guys a wee bit. Let me see. Yeah. Have him down a bit, have him up a bit. There we go. Okay. Yeah, this is going to actually be a decent enough recording session then, to see if I can get the camera and my microphone out of the way. Okay. Radio. So there's a extra wee thing I need to do with this then, just to make it a wee bit more focused and in the right place. Let's see. Yeah, bring that down a wee bit. There we go. Bring that over a wee bit. Okay. Okay, so new camera, new light. Even go a little bit colder. Let me see. 20%. Yeah. Okay, this is going to be interesting to see if I can turn up one light without turning them both up. Yeah. Okay. I'm probably going to look really, really bright. Okay. There's nothing we can do about that. Okie doke. So guys, the new tune for today is going to be young Tom Ennis's. I'm just going to open it up here just to let you actually hear Olivia play it properly, so you actually get to hear it from a proper musician. So here we go. This is the tune itself, and I'll show you what I had to do to sort of get this into her tuning and also standard tuning as well. So here's the actual tune as a jig. Lovely tune. Okay, let's see if I can hear that as well through the stream. Okay, yeah, I think it's coming through okay. If anything needs to be louder, guys, or quieter, just let me know. I'm trusting on your judgment. Just type away in the comments if anything needs to be turned up or turned down, especially if it's me that needs to be turned up or turned down. Probably turned down. I'm going to show you guys the key that she's in, first of all. It's, again, not a standard tuning that you would have in Irish traditional music. You know, this is the normal sort of D, G, so-called B minor, A minor, E minor. This is outside of the sort of normal tuning for whistles, tin whistles, uilleann pipes, and definitely you could easily do this on banjo or bouzouki or mandolin or violin, anything that you can tune and playing chromatically. So I'm just going to bring up the audio equivalent of what she was playing there here. Again, this is using the same old app as we keep using every week. This is an app called Fission, and it's really, really good if you're interested in getting something like this. Really, really good for practicing and slowing things down, or turning things up and chunking things into different wee groups and repeating things over and over again. A section repeated. Trying to find the tonic there, so the That's the drone. Every time you're listening to a tune and you don't know the key, try to hum to yourself the drone. You may not get it the first like 20 odd times doing this. I don't most of the time when if it's late in the night and I don't know the tune and I can't hardly hear it over like a loud noisy bar or something, you may struggle to get this. But over time you get better and just be able to sort of lock in to that drone, that tonic note, da, the whole way through. So you should be able to hear that. Da, so that's what we're looking for. There we go. Okay, so I was able to find that just by plucking the top couple of strings. I'll show you guys when I swap over here into the sort of the bouzouki stuff. Yeah, so I'll zoom in as well to where I am. Without the capo, it's just your normal standard DAD in the top courses, and I'll bring my thing on so you can actually see which strings I'm hitting there. So I'm always looking for that da. Do I have it here? Nope. Da. There we go. So it's actually 6 frets up. So that's where I know to put the capo. So that's the first thing when I'm practicing anything, is I have to find where my capo is going to go, especially if I'm accompanying like banjos or fiddles. So even sometimes accordions and concertinas, they can play in keys that I'm not familiar with. I'm more of a sort of tin whistle and flute and uilleann pipe player, so I'm sort of used to just the same 5, maybe 6 keys. If we're playing A, that's adventurous for me. So this is very adventurous for me. So it's between G and A. So you can think of this as G sharp. I'm going to think of it more as like A flat rather than anything. And we've actually done a few in this key before with Olivia's stuff. So this is definitely a fiddle tuning, which sounds class. But of course I'm going to make it a wee bit more boring and standard for everyone and for myself, just to get it into the key that I'm used to playing. But we're going to play it in her key to begin with. And I'm just going to change the camera angle a little more so you can actually see. I'm going to be doing everything from the 6th fret here upwards. Okay, that's a wee listen again, and I'll see if I can come up with something. So it's a jig. So there's a couple of wee chords there that I'm using, and again, I'll bring up my reverse chord up just to show you guys this. So if we add the capo here, okay, it's doing everything as sharps. I wanted to actually do it as flats. So can I do that? If I go in here and just change, it should be enharmonic equivalence. Is that going to help? Don't think that does. No. Maybe I do that. Okay, so yeah, this is the tuning more into the flats, A flat, E flat, A flat. The reason why I think of it more in terms of flats is because it's, to me, the minors just sound like, you know, they're being pulled down a wee bit more. So yeah, it's got more of a serious sort, or sad, if you think of the minor feel, it's a sad, serious sort of feel to it. And flats to me just sound a wee bit more appropriate for that, rather than sharps, which tend to, you know, bring the music up and make it brighter maybe. But you can do it either or. For me, that makes more sense. A flat, E flat, A flat, rather than thinking of everything as sharps, G sharp, D sharp, G sharp. Exactly the same sound, no difference at all. Okay, the very first one then, as you'd expect, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so G sharp 5 or A flat 5, that's the one I'm going to choose. Okay, so that's our starting key, our starting chord. So if we just play it from the start again, just to hear that. And we'll actually just play the first half, or the first section. You could easily play that over and over. You can, of course, play this as a drone the whole way through, so it's just... So a little tip, when you've got a tune that's like this, that allows you quite a lot of free movement in terms of polyphonic movement across, or counter melodies or something, usually that's going to be indicated by the fact that you can just drone with the same chord quite a bit. That is perfect opportunity to be adding in little bits and little counter melodies, little motifs, little melodic ideas all over the place. So yeah, when you're just starting off, just get used to the rhythm, get used to the chord, get used to the strumming. Try to after a while, instead of just strumming everything, try to just focus on the top 3 courses. Course 1, 2 and 3. Try to avoid hitting the 4th, the bass one. Just focus on the... And then after a while, try and focus on maybe just striking the 3rd course, or maybe the 2nd or the 1st, whatever one. I always go for the 3rd one as like the beginning of each sort of phrase. And don't worry if the rest of it's a wee bit messy, just as long as you get that bum dum on the beat. And after a while, try and tidy it up so it becomes more like this. Okay, so it's like 3 stages that you're moving through, just strumming the full chord. And I would actually alternate between these depending on context. Like if you're in a very loud and session environment, you may want to focus more on, you know, the full chord. Or if it's just you and one other musician, like me and Olivia, or like another fiddle player, if it's just like the 2 of us, like arpeggiated style is much more appropriate. Especially if the bar is a bit quieter, or you're not like in a, you know, in a loud environment. And you want to build that up. You could just start with, just as I say, aim for the 3rd course, dum, and then just da 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 da, your normal jig rhythm. And then after a while, individual. Okay. So I'm just going to check again my levels, guys, just to see, to make sure this is coming through okay. If anyone could let me know, you can feel free to chat away in the chat there, guys. If you just let me know if it's loud enough, or I could still make it a bit louder. I'm thinking. What do you guys think? Okay. So I'm just going to check again my levels, guys, just to see, to make sure. Hit the side of me. It's actually, believe it or not, it's going to go back. Well, if it's my goodness, if it's okay with you guys, I'm just going to keep it at that level. But if you need it to be louder, just let me know. Okay, let's see. Right. So once we have that, whoops. What do you do now? How do you come up with like some sort of counterpoint or polyphonic? So I'm going to show you guys some of the little things that I do, especially when you're droning around, especially for this particular chord, whatever key that you're in, wherever you've added your capo or not. If you're not having your capo on at all, you're in the key of D something, like D Mixolydian, D Ionian, or D minor, or whatever key you're in. No matter where you add the capo, if you find that you're lucky enough to have a tune where you're just droning on that chord 1 a lot, you can do what I come up with here, which should be, there's a couple of wee things. Hammer on that 2nd course. So if I just go back to this for a second and hammer on here, the 2nd course on the 3rd fret. Da -dum -dum. So it's a G flat. So you're hammering on. That's what I do. I do that a lot when I practice. This is the first wee one. I'm just going to build it up and build it up and build it up. Okay, that's the first one. The second one is that. Da da dum, which would just be. Okay, so. You know what, guys? I might just leave it. It's going to the sharp default all the time. So, yeah, I'll just leave it like this. So just make it easier. It's more the sound you're aiming for, because I'd have to keep changing it every single time I hit a different note. Da da dum. So. That's one. Okay, and you can put them together. Oh. even. Okay, so there's another couple in there as well. Okay, let's try it with her playing just to see, can we put a few of these in? And again, we're just going to repeat that A section. Okay, there's loads and loads of wee ideas in there. Yeah, I do that a wee bit as well on the third course, where you've got the this, well, it's A sharp, or you can think of it as B flat. Da dum dum, where you're hammering just a semitone further up. There's something in there as well. Yeah, going down even from up here. Da, 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 dum. Whoops, there we go. So that's C sharp, or D flat is the way I think of it. Da, da, dum. So ba, ba, bum. And then da, da, dum. F sharp is G flat in my head. So you'll find that a lot of these little ideas pop up at the end of phrases, or coming up to like a cadence, or even at the end of the actual section, the A section, just like as a little turnaround that you would call it in jazz or blues, like a little turnaround area. So you can start off with just da 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 dum. So can then become, which then can become. So hopefully you're able to see how one thing can grow out of another. So just to do the simple version first. Da 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 dum. Ah, sorry, I'll do that again. A sharp, G sharp, F sharp, and then back to G sharp. So here, da, da 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 dum, and that's all with the strums, or individual picking if you want to do it arpeggiated. Or yeah, so you hopefully you're able to see where that comes in. If I just do that little rhythm just on its own, let's see if we can keep that going. Okay, so you have the, and this is how I would practice. I know it can sometimes drive people crazy. I'm sure like any neighbors who are listening to me playing are probably absolutely sick of this at the stage, but when I'm practicing, I tend to sort of build stuff up that way. So I'll come up with something very sort of straightforward and very simple. You know, just like a little idea, a little sort of beginning of something. Da 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 dum, and see if I can make that, elaborate that into something else. So became da 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 dum. So just adding the da 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 dum. It's always at the end of like a bum ba da 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 dum bum da 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 dum ba da 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 dum da 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 dum bum ba 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 bum da 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 dum bum ba ba bum da 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 dum. So it's like at the end of a phrase or the end of like a 2-bar or every 4 bars or something. Something different. The hammer on could go in there. Yeah, maybe at the end of like the A section itself. That could be the sort of the special one that you could do. So you can use your pinky or you can use your third. If you're going to use your third finger, you probably have to, like my fingering at the moment, or my hand, as you guys can see, it's probably a wee bit straight. It probably needs to be a wee bit more curved, like to get that, you know. So rather than playing like this, it needs to be more like that. So depending on your sort of more favorite position, like if you're more sort of into playing like stretched chords and stuff, if you're used to doing that, then you may want to be using your third finger here. It might be more comfortable. And if you aren't, you can use your pinky. So sorry guys that the strings are quite tinny. Yeah, I need to change these. I'll change these for next week. You'll have fresh new strings. I was going to change them today and I thought, no, I don't want to start a live stream with, you know, completely fresh strings because they'll go out of tune every 2 minutes. I know they're out of tune now, but they're kind of in tune with themselves, even though they're out of tune with Olivia. Okay, so there's quite a few things there. We have one little idea. We have a second idea from that. We have a third idea from that. We've got a fourth idea from that. Which is the hammer on. So there's four ideas. You could maybe start with just the hammer on. It's the easiest. Dun, dun. Then the second idea. Then the third idea. And the fourth idea. And just sort of mess around with those four. Just go between one and the other and string them together. Put the fourth and the second idea together. The third and the fourth idea together. Put three of them together. Put all four of them together. Just do one. Then don't do anything and just drum. So there's lots of variety you can get out of just those little ideas. If I just do maybe the first two, or I'll do the whole tune just so you can just use all of those. I know at the end, like she does go to a different chord, which we'll look at later. So there's a little chord progression we've got to remember at the end, but we won't worry too much about it just now. So here we go. Okay, so there's a couple of wee more things that I'll save maybe for the B section, which would probably be focusing more in the low. So that's kind of a nice thing to maybe do, is if you have such a piece like this where it allows a super amount of concentration on just the one chord, which is what this piece is, until you get to that da 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 da, like at the very end it does go to a new chord. Like there. Okay, da 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 da. Okay, so it's analyzing it as an E, which may be nicer way of thinking about it rather than as a, oh, got it to be an F flat. So, yeah, well, we'll keep it to sharps, guys, because that makes more sense thinking of the E major chord there. Da, 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 da. So I'm just trying to mimic what chords Olivia had there. I think it was more sort of something like that. So like E, then slide everything up. I would think of that more as an F sharp chord sus2. Yeah. So I know they've come up with like loads of different ways, like C sharp sus4 over F sharp. No. It just makes E and then up to F sharp. That makes more sense, thinking of everything rising up. So from E, everything going up like a tone or a whole step to F sharp. And then... Okay, so we're going to keep it to G sharp 5 then. Even though I prefer thinking of everything in flats for minors. Yeah. Okay, so... Oh. No, thank you. Let's leave it there. I think her rhythm there was... So it was a little quick movement, I think, up to the tonic. Da-da-dum, bum, bum. And then suddenly down to the your sus chord, D sharp sus 4, back up to G sharp. So that's just to be sure, I'm just going to listen to her play it. Actually, she didn't go up to the tonic. That's originally what I thought it was. Yeah, okay, that sounds nice. That makes more sense to me as well. So E major, F sharp, sus 2. Then you just your D sharp, sus, G sharp 5. Now you don't have to do all full strums for that. You could do, if you want to do individual arpeggiated style, yeah. You may notice when I'm doing that, I'm aiming for this second course. Okay, so I'm aiming for him at the end of each. Bum ba 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 bum. Because it's the dominant of our key. Da dum. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So it's like almost like a dominant pedal coming up to the end of the. Actually, you can just strum that. Okay, so that's the ending that I'll be aiming for, but I'm just going to try doing a couple of more of the wee motifs, wee polyphonic stuff. Yeah. Okay. As usual, guys, if you have any questions as well, feel free. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I'm really sorry, guys. I forgot to check the community. Oh, dear. 2 secs, my bad. Yeah, just to see if anyone's left. They usually don't. That's why I sometimes forget, because usually usually people are watching it here instead, but I'll just check the community to be sure. Just to be sure. A wee message from Brian. That's lovely. That's good stuff. Okay, I don't think there's anything in the community. I'm just double checking. If you're wondering what I'm on about, this is the community here. So like, I have no idea how many are in it anymore. It just there was 45 new members who came in since November, and there were 48 new members in November, and there were a couple of dozen before that. So I have no idea. There's quite a few here in here, but most of the time it's just me posting stuff. But Brian's left a lovely wee message as well. I think Brian's just completed the course. Well done. Good stuff. Yeah, so no questions there. So you guys are allowed to join as well. Like, this is an open public community, and there's free stuff you can get here too. If I go in and click on community, yeah, there's wee handouts and things like Bazooki freebies, Tin Whistle freebies. You can download those. There's like about 10 handouts inside of each one of those. So you're more than welcome to download those. Yeah, and there's other wee things I post in there as well, like, you know, uploads of latest stuff and some social media things, and me playing with Olivia. Just no talking, just me playing. You'll be happy to know. So yeah, you're more than welcome to join. Okay, let's get back. Back to the tune. Let's see. I'll play it through the first half again just to come up with something. I'm going to try and come up with, like, a repetitive way of playing those, so I know exactly what I'm playing. But in a session environment, I wouldn't be this strict. But I'm just going to try it anyway for the sake of this practice with me session. Here we go. Okay, I think I've got an idea. Proving a wee bit tricky, that one. Oh, I've got it. Okay, so the way I'm going to do this is actually just build it up. You keep it relatively simple, rather than mixing stuff around. I'm just going to start off with hammer on, then the da 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 dum, then da 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 dum, and then the full thing. So just building up the complexity of it. So just try that again a wee bit slower. Okay, so just moving through it. Yeah, I'm just going to do that maybe for the first half, the A section, and see if I can repeat the A section. Alrighty, or does it just allow me only to do? Yeah, okay. Maybe if I select it all this way. Let me see. Yep. Okay, here we go. Okay, so what I've noticed about a lot of these ones for the A section anyway is that they're all sort of descending. Well, maybe the hammer on is going up, but everything else is da da dum. Most of the movement tends to be downward. Da 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 dum. Da 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 dum. Da 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 dum. So it's all going down, or it's going towards like the first chorus. So maybe if the second part, the B part, which is actually the higher part in the chin, maybe if we went down low. And the ideas I was experiment with down here, the little ideas that will grow were these. Da da dum. So if I just so it's really B, C sharp, D sharp as the second chorus, up string this guy, da da da, Bum, back to G sharp. And I'm using my first and third finger for those guys. And a hammer on for him. Down, up. Oops. That's one. Another one is so another hammer on, then another hammer on, and a third hammer on. It's all about the hammers. Sure about that one anymore because it leaves a bum, like almost like a pull off on that string. Dum, might be able to hear that fourth chorus. And I go. It's very resonant. Maybe it's just me being plugged into the audio interface here that makes it a bit more susceptible to that. Maybe if you were playing it acoustically, completely acoustic, you wouldn't hear that effect. But it's really just the same as an octave higher, but I don't want to do it anyway. So this time your hammer on is da dum dum, whereas the first one was ba dum dum. Okay, so let's see, can we come up with any others? It's very similar to... So... Yeah, it might be nice doing that to lead down. Okay, so let's play the B section to see can we fit those in. And those will be our little ideas for the higher part, or the higher part, the B part. Here we go. Let me actually select this. There we go. so I think it's... Yeah, okay, it's a wee bit awkward, this one. So there's like, the first idea is just the hammer on. Da-dum-da-dum. Oh, let me see if I can show that, yeah. The second idea is another. So it's da this time. Very similar to each other. This last one is da-dum, da-dum, dum-dum. Then they do another one of those. Okay, so I'll do the whole B section slow. Something like that. Okay, so that's the B section, and the A section is... Okay, let's do the whole thing. See what we can get with this. Here we go. Oh, wrong thing, sorry. Just do it from the start. think we finally got it. I think we've cracked the nut on this one. Okay, so I'm just going to play it maybe one more time, nice and slow. Just so if any of you guys want to... remember, guys, these are all just going to be saved on this YouTube channel, so you can always come back anytime and just... And I'll obviously put up like the name of it and everything, so you don't have to go searching through every single live that I've done. Not that I've done hundreds or anything, but just they will start piling up. I'll do this every week, and this is our 7th one. And I also do Ask Me Anything that are on Wednesday nights. So there's 14 lives that are up at the moment, and there'll just be more and more as time goes on. So I will put the name of it up. Remember, the name is Young Tom Ennis. Young Tom Ennis. Okay, as opposed to old. I don't know old Tom Ennis, but I know the young Tom Ennis. Okay, so here it is in the beginning, nice and just steady and slow, just so you can get every little thing. Here we go. Right, brilliant. Start off with a mistake already. Here we go. Then we're into the B section now. Sorry, I made a wee bit of a mistake there in that last part. Do the B section again. If you're wondering that last wee part, yeah, you could do it with the other two fingers. Yeah, if you want to do it that way. Yeah. Yeah, it's making life awkward trying to get my second and third finger, but you can do your first and second finger there instead. Whoops. I know that from somewhere, I can't remember where though. I don't know. Okay, one last run through, and then I'm gonna bring it up on screen so you guys can see what the tune is, and I might even try recording on whistle. So one last run through. Here we go. that again. Okay, just show you guys my desktop just to see what's going on. This is what I've been practicing along to all this time. So if I just want to focus on the A section, I can do, or the B section, I can do. If we bring up the other version of it, this is the more standard. It's going to sound weird after we've done so much of this, but this is actually the standard version, which is to move everything up a semitone. Okay, so the capo is now on 7. So instead of being in the more unusual key of G sharp or A flat, we're now firmly in the key of A. Same thing though. Gotta remember the right frets. So I think you guys will agree. I kind of prefer it in the lower. I know that's not going to be a popular choice because like that makes it very difficult in a session environment. But yeah, just if you want to just practice it, you know, just with a capo on 6. But remember that in a session you would want it on 7, and it's played in A. Okay, so everything else is just the same. Okay, so it's kind of the same, just a bit brighter. Okay, let me take this off for a wee sec, if I can just go back to main screen. Okay, I'm very, 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 very white. This is what happens when you have so many things, so many lights on. Okay, I'll go back to desktop actually while we're here, and I'll just take this off for a sec so I can turn this light off. Not the camera. There we go. Still pretty bright, to be honest. My goodness. Not as bright. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys where I get a lot of the stuff for this. For anyone who's interested in the whistle as well, I wonder if I can actually bring up the whistle. Yeah, that might be something someday. Bear with me, guys. If I can bring up my Stream Deck. Yeah. Just so we can actually show you the fingering that I'm going to be using. There you go. Okay. This is Instagram I'm looking for. Radio. So yeah, it's a new camera that I've got, guys, for this. An Instagram 360 Link. Hell of a name. Instagram 360 Link 2 Pro. And there's an Instagram 360 Link 2 that we've been using. So this is the Pro that's on. But what I didn't realize is that it's really, really good with low light. So like everything is like a hell of a lot brighter than it usually is. This is why I have to turn lights off and on. I'll get it right for next time. But it was very, very bright tonight, I thought. Be interesting to see what it looks like. So I'm just going to add my whistle to this Stream Deck so you guys can see it. So I'm going to Insta360. Webcam configuration. Now, let me see it. It should be in the older version. Or maybe not. Yeah, okay, let me see. Preset position, that's what I'm looking for. And I think it's number 2, is it? Let me just see. If I go back to Bouzouki for a wee second, will this even show up if I... Oh, it kind of does. Okay, so I'll have to rearrange that. Yeah, so you can see my fingering here will be for the whistle. It's the camera zooming in down here, but I'll have a different thing for the whistle. But it's just good to know that it actually works. So I'll just have to sort of hold it up when I'm doing it tonight, because this is down here. This is why I wear black a lot of the time, guys. I got about 10 of these shirts. And so you can actually see if the instrument and the whistle, you know, just actually fingering and so, you know, it's not too distracting. So, yeah. But I'll go back to desktop and I shall close this guy down. I'll actually close this one down as well. Don't want to save any changes. And I want to bring up an app that I use quite frequently for these tunes. Now, most of you guys will probably know this. A big revelation to anybody. Let me see if I can find, yeah, Tune Pal. My tunes. Yeah, that's the one from today. Let me zoom in a wee bit so we can see it a wee bit better. And I might actually have to get different audio for this. Let me see. Yeah, tin whistle. Okay, so my audio probably isn't as good now, but it's just for the whistle. It'd be interesting to see what this sounds like. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'll get a beat going as well, just so we don't have to listen just to the whistle. What I've done here as well, I'll show you guys some of the beats that I use. I think it's actually inside music, social media accompaniment, jig. Jig that's in D. Oh, I don't have one that's in A. This will be interesting. Jig accompaniment. Yeah, I'll have to make one. I've got one in D, one in E, one in D, one in E, one in D. I'll need one for A now. Okay, what have we got here? I'll bring him up a wee bit. I'm just going to see what this is like with my whistle. God, where's the Allen pipes? Oh, there we go. I wonder, can we get an egg drone here? The dominant, it's the E. If I'm looking for D. Interesting, it does all the other keys, but the one I'm looking for. Alright, okay. Well, what we'll do is, let me see if I can come up with like just a nice sort of accompaniment. I'll get rid of this for a second. And it'll be a nice one. Yeah, just something with like a percussion backing. This is what I do, just so I'm not playing with metronomes all the time, because it does get a wee bit stale. You want your practice to be a bit interesting, so I'll show you guys from scratch what I would do. New from templates, and come up with something in 6/8, I suppose. That's the tune that I got off TunePal. The great thing about that is you can just play a wee twiddle of it and it'll go find the actual tune, the name and everything else, and you can play it. Although it's not going to come through for you guys. I haven't set that up. And also speed it up and slow it down. Okay. Don't need the cellos for this, I don't think. No. There we go, just lay down a rhythm just to get it going. I suppose it's Yeah, it doesn't really matter if it's out of sync. We're just going to maybe repeat this little section over and over. Yeah. Okay, let's get nice percussion going as well. Something in 6/8 because we are in a jig after all. So what have we got here? If I just play away with this, let me see, what have we got? Ooh. That's a bit fast for me as a reel. I usually when I do this, I have reels around about 100. But we're looking for something a wee bit more jiggy. Let me see, something in 6/8. Oh. Let me see. Okay, that's fast, but it'll be interesting to see if we kind of keep up with this. Okay. Let's see what that sounds like with me playing over the top of myself. Let's take that off. Won't bother with the cellos, actually, that's even nicer. So I'm just going to take this away and keep that off. Okay, so if I go into this just for a second, just to tidy it up a wee smidgen, just to make sure. There we go. See if we can do that. Here we go. This is going to be interesting. I'm going to slow it down for the last part because, yeah. That last part's going to be a bit tricky. Okay. Yeah, that wee last part is going to be pretty tricky. Okay, I think I've got it. That's what I just needed, was a little bit of rhythm, just to keep my... I can put a tick-tock in the background, but it's nowhere near as nice as having like a proper sort of percussion there. I wish I had somebody who can actually... But then I'd be very boring to get someone in to actually just accompany me, and all they're doing is the same rhythm over and over and over again. Okay, let's see if I can play along with... this will be the ultimate test. Can I play along with Olivia? Can I play along with an actual trad musician? Let's see. Where did I put her now? It would be in instruments. Instrumental. It would be in bouzouki. It would be in... There we go. There we go. And I have to get the one where I've tuned her up a semitone. Otherwise, I can't play it any other way. Okay, here we go. Actually, I'd be interested to know, am I drowning myself out or drowning her out? I'm just going to check my audio levels, guys. Just 2 secs here. Let me see. Let's go back. It's okay. Okay, let's try it one more time just to make sure I can get this, because what I'm going to do, of course, is I notate this for my students and then put chords above it, you know, so they can follow along with the tune and mu score or something. So I'd have to make sure I can actually play the tune before I start notating it. So here we go. Yeah, that's an interesting wee variation there. This isn't exactly what she's playing. So yeah, see that second line when there's a little da-da-da. Now, most teachers would tell their students that's a triplet, even though when you look at it written down, that's actually the correct way of writing it: 2 semiquavers and a quaver, or 2 16th notes and an 8th note. That's the correct way of writing it. It's not really a triplet, but we just call it a triplet, because it has 3 notes in the time where you'd expect to see only 2. But trad musicians don't worry too much about the sort of theory behind things. But I could probably put that little idea down here as well, where we're going, you know, B up to D. Anywhere I've got that B tends to be a good place to put in a triplet. So if I was to... When I have a rake of A's together like there and there, I put in rolls. So I'll be doing this with a tin whistle course that I'll be making over the next year, an online course. that you can just buy and just watch it as many times as you like, if you're interested in it. And I'll be going through where do you put in ornaments, like where do you put in cuts, rolls, triplets, all that sort of stuff. Yes, that's two big ones. Like anywhere that you've got these, collection of A's, that's a good place for an A roll. There as well, there as well. That long A up there, those A's there, those A's there. Lots of A rolls. And anywhere where you've got like a B going up to a D, put in a triplet. Not so much when it's the other way around, D going down to B, but definitely B up to D. It's a good place to put in triplets. So this could be something like... Yeah, I'd probably put in like a da-da-da-da, change that A to a G for my students. Because then the A roll will come after. And you can even put in a B roll there. Da-da-da-da-da-da, B, B. Imagine that C is just a B. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Clipping a wee bit. That's not what she plays. I prefer the way she does it. Let me see. What is the way? This is the way. Oh, she goes up to high C, my goodness. That's a wee bit high for me, so I'll have to probably do that in a different whistle. The shush whistle doesn't really, my shush whistle doesn't really like that. I'll just do what's written here. So let's have a wee play through with Olivia and just trying to get in those B rolls. There's only a few places. The A rolls, there's loads of places. And the so-called B, C, D triplet. Let's see. we got it. Righty. Let's see. So we've got the tune. That's my practice session more or less over. We've got the tune recorded. We've got Olivia downloaded, playing the tune. Then we've got her playing it in her original key, and then I've taken her and put her down or put her up a semitone so that I could play along and show you guys how to do it in standard, like Capo 1/7. But the way she's playing it is Capo 1/6, which I think sounds nicer because it's more resonant. You tend to sort of restrict the strings a wee bit more when you're adding a capo. The higher up you go, so it's unfortunate that's the key we're kind of stuck with when you're like a whistle player like me or a uilleann piper or flute player. We tend to be stuck in those C to D keys. We don't really have a D flat whistle. If anyone wants to make one, I'd be happy to buy it. Or know where I could get one. So that's the first thing then, is getting everything downloaded, and then of course extracting the MP3s, and then I've got the name of the tune now, and what I'll do is I'll notate that for my guys and put in all those little twiddly bits, all those little motifs, little melodic ideas for each section. So remember, when you are learning a tune for the first time, especially a tune that has a lot of drones in it, it's a lot of opportunity to play the same chord over and over again. Definitely think about, can you actually put in more than just the same chord? Can you put in some polyphonic ideas? Okay, so you may want to think about starting with a small idea, building on that, like we did tonight. Just a little small idea, like a hammer on or something, or like a little little idea on the top first course, and then adding a few more notes on either side of that and making that into a longer melodic idea. And then do maybe the complete opposite. Do everything down the octave for the second half. It's always nice. I think that's one of my things that I like doing. That when the second half of the tune goes high, the bouzouki goes low. Just so they're not following each other parallel all the time. Or you can mix it up if you prefer. Go with the performer, go higher with them, and then go lower with them as well. I kind of like go moving in contrary motion to them, so it just fills out the harmony, fills out the range, I should say. They go high and you go low. It's a wider range of sound there as well. You tend not to distract them too much either when you do that. Okay, so I think I'll leave it there tonight, guys. I think that's more than what we need, really. But thanks very much for coming out. And if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to leave them there as well in the chat. I do get back to them on the YouTube chat. I also get back to them on the community as well. So yeah, thanks very much for coming out. And yeah, hope to see you again next time. Take it easy, guys. All the best.